Hello, Gene Schwimmer here. Welcome to today's vlog. Before we get into today's subject, I just want to read you a short list. You may know that for the first time, Trump has had one of his tweets fact-checked by Twitter. He posted a tweet and Twitter posted a link below the tweet where people could go to get a contrary argument or to say that his facts are wrong. I'm not going to get into the specific details about that. It's regarding mail-in voting and the potential for fraud. What I do want to give you today is this list, thanks to Breitbart, of, well, here's a headline: 8 lies by Joe Biden and the left that Twitter didn't, quote, fact check, unquote. Twitter added a, quote, fact check, unquote, label to President Donald Trump's tweets, raising widely held concerns with mail-in voting fraud earlier today. But it has failed to apply a similar standard to repeated falsehoods by elected Democrats, the mainstream media, and Joe Biden. Here's the list: 8 times where they did not fact-check obvious lies, or we'll just say misstatements of fact or false reporting. However you want to call it, Breitbart says lies, I'm going with lies. Here's the list. Lie number 1. Media falsely claimed that Trump went golfing on Memorial Day. Not fact-checked by Twitter. Lie number 2. Biden Democrats falsely claimed that they called for lockdowns 1 week before Trump. Not fact-checked by Twitter. Lie number 3. I guess, well, China is communist, so we can say the left. Anyways, lie number 3. China pushes conspiracy theory that the U.S. military created the coronavirus. Not fact-checked by Twitter. Lie number 4. Biden claims Trump has, quote, no comprehensive plan, unquote, for the virus or the economy. Not fact-checked by Twitter. Lie number 5. Biden claims he wants, quote, any records, unquote, of Tara Reade's sexual assault allegation against him to be released, even though he's blocking the release of his Senate records. Not fact-checked by Twitter. Lie number 6. Media falsely claims Trump was warned about the outbreak as early as November. Not fact-checked by Twitter. Lie number 7. Kamala Harris falsely claims that 100,000 coronavirus deaths, quote, didn't have to happen, unquote. Not fact-checked by Twitter. And lie number 8. World Health Organization claims, quote, no evidence of human-to-human transmission of the coronavirus, unquote. Not fact-checked by Twitter. So there you have it, a list of 8 lies that Joe Biden and the left and the Chinese Communist Party and the World Health Organization, tweets they posted on Twitter, flat out lies that Twitter did not fact check, because they're not Republicans, of course, and because especially they're not Donald Trump. So it looks like Donald Trump is the only one who gets fact checked on Twitter, even though there is an argument that there is the possibility of mail-in voter fraud. No less a person than Jimmy Carter said that. Just a double standard, that Twitter has one standard for Republicans and Donald Trump and another one for Democrats, the left, the Chinese Communist Party, and the World Health Organization, and I would even guess by extension the United Nations. Now on to today's subject. This is something that I'm starting to think Donald Trump has to be concerned about. It's about the polls. I have said in the past that my go-to poll is the Rasmussen poll, because the Rasmussen poll, number one, it's of likely voters, not just registered voters and not just all adults, but likely voters, people who have a history of voting in past elections and have given every indication of voting in the next election in November. They also do a 3-day moving average of the poll, so that you're not looking at one day's results, you're looking at an average of 3 days results, which evens out the volatility more, gives you a better idea. And finally, Rasmussen uses a robot voice. They have a robot voice ask the questions, and then you answer by pushing buttons on your phone. That eliminates the possibility of a human voice putting emotion into a question and possibly swaying a voter. So what alarms me, two things. Number one, the Rasmussen poll today shows Trump down to 42% approval among likely voters, which compares to 49% that Obama was at the same point of his presidency. In the past, Trump has been as high as 50%. I think he was even higher than 50%. He was around 49%. And then a few days ago, he dropped to 46%, then 43%, now 42%. And because we're talking about a 3-day average, mathematically, on at least one of those days, he was below 42%, possibly even below 40%. But what concerns me even more, which is why I'm bringing this up now, is the national poll. Because while every poll has been showing Biden ahead by 3 points at the least and by the high single digits at most, maybe even higher, I have taken those polls with a grain of salt because they were so wrong about Trump versus Hillary Clinton in 2016. So it's not as concerning to me. It is concerning, but we do have several months of the election and those polls were wrong. But as I said, Rasmussen is my go-to poll. It's a 3-day average of likely voters. They did a poll of the election. I was just citing the poll of his approval, but this is the election, and as you can see here, as of the 19th, so about a week ago, it shows Biden leading Trump by 5 points. So that's the Rasmussen poll. I said a moment ago, and I've said it in past vlogs, the reason I prefer the Rasmussen poll is because it is the only poll I know of that polls likely voters. But it turns out that that is only for Trump's approval rating, because look at this. CNBC did a poll too about the same time as Rasmussen did its poll. And the CNBC poll also is of likely voters. And like the Rasmussen poll, it shows Biden ahead of Trump. Not by as much, 3 points ahead instead of 5, but still ahead. So if you're a Trump supporter or in the Trump campaign, well, if you're in the Trump campaign, then obviously you're a Trump supporter, unless you're a spy from the Democratic Party or the CIA or the FBI, or if you're Trump himself, that is one more reason to be concerned. I guess, well, full disclosure, if you don't know by now, I'm a conservative, so that's why it bothers me. As I said in my vlog of only yesterday, I welcome all points of view, all political affiliations. So you liberals out there, you have perhaps something to celebrate. This is good news for you. But what really matters is not how I feel or whether I'm concerned or whether liberals are elated. What matters is what the Trump campaign is thinking, and who knows? I guess, as I've said in the past, we'll just have to stay tuned, see how the election turns out. But I did want to point that out. I thought it was worth mentioning. I also think worth mentioning that I would appreciate it if you give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Share it with anybody you think would also like the video. You can put any comments if you have below the video. There's a comment section there, good place for questions, suggestions for future topics. I would love to have more subscribers, so subscribe. And finally, come back and see me again. I look forward to seeing all of you again. And until I do see all of you again, bye.